I'm Chief Tom Connolly from the Sanford Police Department, and I'd like to talk today about information regarding parking tickets, because I know there's been a lot of communication from the community about why are we writing so many parking tickets, and a lot of questions about when I will void those tickets if someone requests it. Basically, in the fall of 2013, the council gave me some direction that they wanted me to enforce the parking regulations in the city of Sanford. They and I were receiving a lot of complaints from people about people illegally parked. And a lot of those complaints were about handicap spaces, fire lanes, sidewalks, narrow streets, parked on the wrong side of the road. So I instructed my officers that from this point on, we're going to start citing people, actually writing citations for those parking violations as well as other ones that the officers so choose to enforce. So basically what we're doing is if we see you parked in a handicap space and you do not have handicap tags or a placard in your window, you're going to be cited. If you're parked in a fire lane, you're going to be cited. If you're parked on the sidewalk, you're going to be cited. If you're parked on the wrong side of the street, you're going to be cited. If you're parked on the street during a snow ban, you are going to be cited. I've had a lot of people complaining to me, and I decided that the best thing to do would be to try to get something out to the public so they would understand what's going on. Now, here are some important points everybody should know. That in the city of Sanford, between December 1st and April 1st, from 2 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock in the morning, there is no parking on certain major roads, what are called arterials in the code. I'm not going to list them all, but you can go into the town ordinances, the town code, and you can read them yourself. It's under section 245-72 in the city code. Basically, some of the streets are Lebanon Street, Winter Street, Cottage Street, Washington Street, Oak Street, Old Mill Road, anywhere in Main Street, but they're all listed so you can see. If you live or you work on one of those streets, you cannot park your vehicle overnight between December 1st and April 1st. The other thing that gets people very upset are snow bans. When the city decides that it's going to enact a no parking situation because of snow. When the city enacts a snow ban, they advertise it on all the major TV and radio stations. It's on the city website. Many times it's on the police department's website and our Facebook page. We try to get the information out there. But the bottom line and the best thing that I can tell people is a rule of thumb that if it's supposed to snow, or if it has snowed in the last 48 hours, just assume that a snow ban is in effect. Snow ban violations are $50, and we can tow your car if you're blocking the road and a truck is trying to plow the road. So remember, no parking during snow bans, please. Something else that comes up a lot is parking in disabled person parking places. The law clearly states that you either have to have disabled license tags on your car, or you have to have a current valid placard hanging from your mirror. The law is very specific. It says the placard must be hanging from your mirror when you're parked in the space, and then you're supposed to take it down when you leave. If the placard is not hanging from your mirror, you can be cited. And I get a lot of people who complain constantly that, well, they have one, they just forgot to put it up, and they got a ticket. Well, sorry, that's a violation of the law. Something else that comes up a lot is the access aisle next to handicap spaces. That's the place on the pavement that's crossed off with yellow or white lines over it. That allows a handicap access van to put down a ramp so that someone can get in or out of their vehicle. So it's a specific part of the handicap parking space. What you should know is that even if you have handicap tags or a placard, you may not park in that access aisle. So don't park in the access aisle next to a handicap space. And another thing that I hear frequently is that I came out and I saw the officer writing the ticket and I told him I'd move my car. Well, if the officer is writing the ticket, that means that the violation has been verified. You're going to get the ticket and you'll be expected to pay the fine. Once they start writing a citation, they are not going to stop. And finally, one thing that happens frequently is people say, well, I had a good reason to park there illegally, and I'm going to file a parking ticket objection notice with the chief of police. And if I have a good explanation, the chief of police will void the ticket. Well, what you should know is that 99% of the time, I deny parking ticket objections. I only will void a ticket for basically 3 reasons. One, that the wrong charge is cited on the ticket, so they check the wrong box or they charge you with the wrong thing. 2, that they have the wrong vehicle listed. They don't have the right tag number, or the make and model of the car is not your car. Or 3, if there is an obvious material dispute that the violation occurred. Now, here are some things that are not obvious material disputes, and therefore will not be, I will not void a ticket because of them. Number one, if you say, I didn't see the sign, that's not a good reason. You're supposed to know, you're supposed to look around and see whether you can park there or not. Okay. Number 2, I didn't know there was a snow ban. When I moved to Maine in 2007, the first thing I found out is just about every town, city, hamlet in Maine has snow ban parking. And then when it snows, you cannot park on the street. We advertise it in as many places as we can, and everybody knows that if it snows, you can't park on the street. So you can't use that as an excuse, and I will not void a ticket for that. The next thing is that I forgot to hang my placard on my mirror. I actually had one that came in the other day where the person said their dog must have knocked it off. Well, I'm sorry, but if the placard is not hanging on the mirror and you're parked in a disabled person's space, you're going to get a citation. You should pay the fine. Frequently I hear, but I was only parked there for like 2 minutes. If you're parked illegally, you're parked illegally. There's no time limit required. If your car is in park, you're stopped, and you're not driving, you're parked. Okay, you're going to have to pay the ticket. And the third one, another thing I hear frequently is, well, I was just waiting for my, and then you can fill in the blank, wife, husband, child, to come out of the store. Parking in fire lanes is not allowed for a particular reason. It's so that fire trucks and ambulances can get through. If you're parked in a fire lane, you can't park there while you're waiting for someone to come out of a store. That's a violation. You're going to get a ticket, and you'll be expected to pay the fine. I hope that this helps clear up some of the issues about parking tickets. Another thing that you should know is that the state law allows you to fine people significantly for parking in handicap spaces. The city of Sanford only fines you $50 for a handicap violation. You could be, some places, a lot of places, fine people $200 for parking in handicap spaces. I personally think that's excessive, and I'm satisfied with the fine the way it is. But, if you get a ticket, you'll be expected to pay the fine. Now, if you really, 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 really believe that there was an injustice done, then what you can do is you can go to court. You can come into the station, you can see my court officer, and he will issue you a state summons to appear in court. And at that time, you can appear in court before a judge. We will present the evidence. I guess a judge will listen to what you have to say for why you parked there. And, of course, a judge may find you not guilty. So that's always a possibility. But really the only 2 options you have are to pay the fine or to go to court, come in, get a summons, and go to court. If there are any questions, my officers are pretty well-versed in this topic by now. Contrary to what people are saying, officers are not becoming meter maids, and we're not doing this to punish people. But we are doing it to make sure that there are handicapped spaces available for people who are truly handicapped. We are doing it to make sure that fire lanes are clear so fire trucks can get through. We're doing it to make sure that sidewalks are clear so that kids can walk on the sidewalk and not have to walk in the street to get around a car that's parked on a sidewalk. So there's legitimate reasons for all these tickets being issued. I would ask for your patience. Park legally, look around, make sure, and if you have to say to yourself, oh gee, I wonder if I'm parked illegally, well, don't park there, and then you won't get a ticket. Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to this, and have a great day.